Joseph, it has 52 frames. We did it. We broke Facebook. Week 1 self-portrait 2018. I also broke this microphone here. More than 1,000 entries on our Facebook page. The Facebook album has a max limit of 1,000 photos, so we're gonna split it up into 2. I think we'll have even more photos for next week and the week after, and then it should simmer down much like a gym membership in the coming weeks. So we'll figure out how to coordinate all of these submissions moving forward. But very exciting stuff. I am really grateful and excited for all the new members joining from all over the world. And gosh, these submissions are really, really beautiful for a self-portrait. I love how everyone seems to just drop the facade and just allow themselves to shine. I know us photographers don't really like to be in front of the camera. So I just wanted to go through around 10 photos, some standouts that I thought were worthy to discuss, break them down a little bit over this coffee and critique espresso today, which I drank already. But before I get into it, I want to thank all the people that have given pledges on Patreon the last week or so. There's been a huge surge at the end of the year of people that are looking to support the project. Many of you chose the PayPal option on the forum to make a one-time payment. And there are so many names that I actually got caught up trying to tally the list, and I'm like, you know what? This is more important. I'm going to dive into this, but I just wanted to give an overall thank you to everyone that has supported. It is going directly to the website development so that we can get off of Facebook and have some amazing functionality. This website is already in development and we're hoping to launch soon. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna go through a couple of your self-portrait photos, and man, does it feel better to not have the camera on me. Okay, gonna go through some of the standouts that the committee actually had already whittled down for some of our top 3 potential choices. Again, as I said in last week's email, 52 frames is not a contest. There are no winners. I mean, well, I would say you're all winners, but that sounds very generic. The top 3 honors is really what started as a logistical thing, because Facebook actually displays the first 3 thumbnails or the first 4 thumbnails of an album when shared. So that's how it started. We wanted, as the cover photo, which is the largest photo, we wanted that to be a nice photo. And B, I feel that the whittling process, this due process from the committee to best as we can come to an agreement with a group of people about what photos we felt were the strongest. And you know what? Just because there is a quote unquote reward doesn't mean that it's a contest, doesn't mean that that's what you need to shoot for. And if you don't ever get a top 3 photo, then you've lost this game. But rather, I personally am very into incentivization, if that's a word. I do think that it's good to strive for something. I do think that it's important to highlight the photos, whether it's for the technical perfection or the creative uniqueness of a photo, depending on why the committee chose certain photos. I think it is important to highlight so that people can see what does make a photo stand out. And I think it's good to incentivize. I know that's a big digression, but I just wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit on what I wrote in the last week's email that we feel were standouts. Okay, digression aside, this did come from the pool of photos that the whittling committee chose. So I'm going to go through as many of these as I can. I don't want to get too in-depth because I would like to make these a tad shorter than in the past, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, Jennifer, if you guys name your actual file name with your name in it, if you name your name in the name, then it does make it easier on these to give you a call out. So, I mean, this guy's name is probably not FE1, FE76, and Cubed, Mr. Cubed. Okay. interestingly, as I was starting to pull these out, what I realized, and I don't know if this is something that the committee realized, but there's just a lot to say about lighting. So much of this is lighting. So we'll start here, and I think this is so important, especially for beginners, is you don't need to have fancy gear. And Jennifer here has a beautiful self-portrait by a ginormous window. How do I know that it's a window? Well, it kind of looks like it would be a window, first of all. But what's cool, and I'm sorry, Jennifer, that we're going to zoom into your eyeball here, but you can actually see the window. In general, if you look into your subject's eyes in a photo, you can see through the reflection of the eye what lights were used and how. So if you look closely, I don't know if you could see with this resolution, but I can actually see some clouds and what looks like maybe a bench, which is pretty crazy. But what you get is beautiful, soft lighting. We see soft shadows here, and it's actually very well positioned because we have here what looks like somewhat of a Rembrandt, what's called a Rembrandt lighting. The light is coming here from the subject's right side, top right side. Really nice use of what I'm seeing now, an extremely shallow depth of field here with a wide aperture of 1.4. Which means your background is really nicely blurred. Also, you are the brightest part of the image, and you, ma'am, are the brightest star in my book in this photo. Okay, yeah, for those of you that are watching one of these for the first time, it does sometimes get weird. I'm sorry, I can't apologize for my quirkiness. It's what makes me me. Mr. Cubed. So this is not window light, and interestingly, we can actually see you have a shoot-through umbrella to the upper left direction of your face, and this is what we call split lighting, which means half of the subject's face would be in light and half in shadow. Usually makes for a very contrasty, very edgy shot. I think more suitable for men, but not exclusively. My only critique for this is your background is not ironed, a bit wrinkly, which is usually fine. If you headshot, I'm seeing you actually don't have any EXIF here. Try not to wipe your EXIF data if possible, because it does help with these critiques. But I'm assuming you shot at f8 or higher because your background is in focus. If you shot at a shallower depth of field like Jennifer did, the background would be blurry and it wouldn't be as much of a problem. I would have gone ahead and just photoshopped just to smooth it out in the back. I think it would have made for a more seamless composition, but cool use of split lighting, very edgy, very aggressive. I like the super close crop, and I wouldn't mess with you, sir, Mr. Cubed. So this one is really, really great. And I just wanted to point this out, not because of the light situation, but because this really focuses on story. So I see a mother, a child. She looks kind of tired perhaps, but in love. They're both connected. There's just some beautiful story here. Aside from the fantastical dust particles added in post, I think that you find certain characteristics of photographers as you follow along in this project, or a photographer's career in general. And some photographers are more focused. Sorry, that's really not for the pun, but I like the word focused. Some photographers are more focused on story. Some are more focused on technique. And I find that by far story will win out. Story wins out. Story is more powerful than any of the other categories of photography that at least 52 Frames looks at a photo, which is story, creativity, and technique. So kudos to you, entry 268, for telling a great story. And I apologize for my laziness because I could actually find out everyone's names, but that would have taken like 20 more minutes and then I wouldn't have been able to do this screencast, because if you saw the recap from last week, I have a nice new little newborn baby waiting for me at home. So my time is few and far between. So you guys will have to excuse my imperfections, because I don't only say it, but I too try and embrace imperfection as much as I can as the community manager leader of this lovely little project. Speaking of scary, so this is what we call underlighting, and ordinarily you never want to underlight. In fact, you don't even want to underlight a non-humanoid, like a wall or just a background, because even that will look kind of evil. But obviously Martin did this with great intention. You can also see catch light on the direction of where the light is coming from on the bottom of his eye. Really cool shot, really lovely, low-key, good, gritty detail, and it's a lot of fun. Also tells a story. An evil story, but a lovely story nonetheless. This is what I find really striking. It's almost journalistic. It's very filmic. I wonder if this was actually shot on film. And I would say, kind of in a good way, this lacks story and this lacks any kind of specific lighting. It looks very front lighting heavy. I'm even seeing a dark shadow here, which could maybe even be on camera flash. Heavy silhouette here on the left side. But you managed to really own this shot. You made it gritty. The black and white conversion and this lovely film grain that's going on here. Whoa, didn't mean to zoom in too much. Good clarity on the eyes. It's just a good grungy shot and a real nice raw standout in this bunch of more, softer, well-lit shots. This one is really great also, and this is what we would call a high key as opposed to a low key. And a high key portrait is rather hard to do without blowing out the highlights. To my eye, you do not blow out the highlights. I'm seeing everything really clearly. It's a really lovely image. Although when I do zoom in, I am seeing a bit of crunchy detail. I do get into what crunchy means in other screencasts, but basically I think you perhaps went too hard on the clarity slider or the sharpness slider. So be careful with that, but without pixel peeping, overall this looks really lovely, really nice high key. I'm just seeing Jacobs, Randy Jacobs. Also, really nice scene, really nice story. My only critique for this is ordinarily you don't want to cut off limbs. Sometimes it's okay, but for this, it really just does seem like it's cropped in a slightly awkward way. I think if we could have seen your feet and even some breathing space below your feet as well, the viewer can really place you in the scene a little bit better. So something to think about, but also really nice shallow depth of field. We see a 1.8 aperture over here, which makes that background really nice and blurry. Really lovely scene over there. So yeah, I feel bad not referring to you guys by name. So it's not mandatory, but if you put your name in your file name, it would be easier. This is really nicely lit as well. This is more of a flat lighting. And if we look in the subject's eyes, we see two catch lights. Sorry guys for zooming into your eyeballs. It's for education, okay? So you see these two dots of light, and you can even see on the left side it's bigger than the right side. That means the light source is probably bigger. Oh no, these are the same. So what she did was position what was probably two strobes on either side very close to your background, but still your shadow is soft, so you can get away with it. You may want to take a step forward from your backdrop, which would kind of kill or diminish these shadows behind you a bit more. But really nice lighting, clever pose, clever framing, and really lovely nail polish. Now that I'm looking at it, it's very cool. I didn't notice that the first time around. Okay. Really impressive shots, by the way. And I don't usually pull out the highlights. So for those that are looking at this like, whoa, these are all professional photographers, I can't. I usually pull out the ones that I feel are critiquable and that I can say something about. I just thought for this one I would pull out some of the ones that the committee had pulled out. for the sake of interest, but I'll pull out a more of a wide gamut. These are all, I think, very impressive shots, and I don't even want to say professional because I think that word is kind of silly, but definitely, yeah, these are all really impressive. So not meaning to kind of set the bar on these screencasts. These are just the ones I pulled out this time. Also, another split lighting for Mr. Ryan. Again, gritty, very low key, very cool. I would have maybe gotten some light on your eye itself, because once the eye is really the window, right? They say the window to the soul, but it's the eye in a photograph is really the window to kind of for the viewer to read the subject, to see, proverb that word speaking, a subject. Because that's what we do. We look in somebody's eyes, and when the eye is in shadow or when the eye is not in focus, it makes the photograph hard for the viewer to take the subject in. Speaking of, no eyes in this one. Really clever. Again, story trumping. Well, I mean, you have beautiful lighting and beautiful creativity as well. So check marks abound for this, and really nice natural silhouette. This isn't like a post slider silhouette situation. Really, really clever shot, really nicely done. And a good example of, hey, self-portrait it's whatever you want. And you guys will start to see some of the creative submissions for other challenges, and it's really what you make of it. There's no right or wrong. And I think some of the really clever ideas stand out from other ones. Okay, let's see if I can quickly do these last four. Again, a great example of what's clearly window light. Also, having the subject brighter than the background, and the background is really clean, not cluttered. So perhaps, you know, there could have been a tree here or a lamp or something on the floor, but this woman, sorry, no name, cleaned up the background. And that's really important. That's what really makes this photo overall much cleaner. Speaking of background, Abby over here completely paid attention to her background. So while it is about the subject here, of course, and again, obviously beautiful window light, holding coffee, the barefoot really adds to the story, the camera here on the shelf, clearly adding to the story. But what I wanted to point out was the beautiful symmetrical patterned background of the building, which really makes this shot unique. Okay, so two more. Again, Laura, really beautiful window light photo and very clever shot as well. Beautiful poses for both of you, and really lovely. I mean, window light and black and white really does make a good combination. Although, yeah, these are window light and color photos as well. Let's see if I can pull out all the window lights here. I mean, this is important. You guys have to know that you have access to beautiful light. It kills me when I see on the 52 Frames photographer group on Facebook, someone's like, especially those of you in England that are like, oh man, it's cloudy for the next like 3 days. So I'm just gonna have to wait until the sun comes out to take a photo. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was in England for, I think it was 3 days 2 years ago, and it was just the most epic, beautiful, cloudy day lighting. That is the best lighting you can possibly ask for. When it's cloudy outside, people, that is like a beautiful soft light from the gods, and you need to use it. So window light does have a similar effect where it creates this soft diffused light. And you can get into it about what the direction of the window is facing and what time of day and what the weather is like. But just know, experiment with window lighting. It really gives you the fastest access to really good lighting. And finally, Hindi. Really lovely light. And snow is actually quite difficult to master, but if you can, you will get lovely light because the light particles are bouncing off of all the white around you. Again, lovely shallow depth of field, wide aperture to blur out your background. You guys, man, way to start the bar high. I would like to do more of these. I would like to try and do these as often as possible. And I figured what better way to start than week 1. So keep them coming. Remember, your photos are not meant to be the best photos that you take. They're meant to be the photos that you took this week. It's once a week. There is no one that could take a beautiful photo every single week. You will have off weeks. You will have off months. But this is not a contest, my friends. And it's not a race. No, wait. It's not a sprint. It is a race. It's a marathon. I'm going to stop talking because I got to go home. But if for some reason you've watched this whole video and you don't know what 52 Frames is, visit 52frames.com to join our free weekly photography project. And if you guys want to help us improve this project and get it off of Facebook, help with the web development that I'm currently deep in my pockets investing in, please go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/52frames. And even $1 a week will really be super helpful. But at $2.50, I'll give you a free t-shirt. And if you pledge $5 a week, you're going to get a delicious 52 Frames sweatshirt. But that's really not the point. It really goes straight to the developer and the rest of the cost to run this project. You guys, I'm so excited for 2018. You're awesome. I'll see you next week. Hi, my name is Yosef Adest, and I started 52 Frames back in 2011 as a personal passion project of mine for me and my friends to get better at photography through a guided weekly photo challenge. Little did I realize at just how much this would impact thousands of people from all over the world, literally changing the way they perceive their world. I can't count how many letters of gratitude I've received from people in the project, thanking me for all that the project has done for them and for enabling a creative space in their otherwise busy lives. For 2016, I'd like to take this project to the next level. I have spent countless hours and my own money over the last 5 years in making this project something really special, which is why I'm now coming to you for support. I'd like to invite you to become a patron of 52 Frames. In order to keep this project running, from server costs, the emails I send out, the forms we use, it costs me hundreds of dollars every month. But for this year and beyond, I want to do even more. For those of you that know me, know that video is my passion. And I really want to devote more time to creating fun, educational, dynamic video that will help you, the photographer, become better at your craft. Becoming a patron is very simple. All you need to do is pledge any dollar amount each month, and you will have full access to the 52 Frames Patreon page, as well as your personal footing in making this project become something truly special. In addition to that, I have some exciting stretch goals, and that's to hire developers to build a fully functional website, to host our rather large albums off of Facebook, and introduce great functionality like follow, sort, and filter, not to mention the sponsorships and prizes we can give out with a proper budget. 52 Frames is and always will be free to participate. Please help me in continuing to offer this project to creatives around the world. Thank you so much for being a patron. Whether it's $1 a week, $1 a month, or just helping to spread out this message, I so much appreciate you helping and fulfilling my vision and spreading joy and creativity to the world.